Hello, everybody, and welcome to Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 33. We have some topics to talk about today. John, what do you want to get into first? Because we had some ideas before.
I
But
guess I guess we'll kind of just start off with the wrestling talk since WrestleMania is about 2 weeks away, and,
next
and
week,
we have or
I
oh,
think next weekend. I think.
oh Jesus Christ.
I think so. Yeah,
um, yeah. So
yeah.
so my apologies. We're 1 week away from WrestleMania, and we had some bombshell news come down. I want to say it was late Wednesday night or last night.
I think last night.
Okay, but it was reported by Pro Wrestling Sheet that that Roman Reigns would not be participating in this year's WrestleMania due to the concerns with the coronavirus, and also some other names who have been either sent home or who are rumored to not be working the show. Andrade, but I believe Andrade had some sort of an injury that he sustained a week or two ago. Had Hannah Hannah Brooke, Ray Mysterio, Cesaro, Oscar, Buddy Murphy, and the latest one was a Miz. And I believe actually that Bobby Lashley might have been sent home to.
I think he self-quarantined himself.
Oh, okay, okay. He self quarantined himself. So, I mean, it's like you kind of had to expect this. It goes back to just how just irresponsible that with Vince that he has been with this whole thing, and just his desire to just not want to reschedule the show, push it back to either June or July or something. But he's dead set on putting it on the show, even though it seems like that no one else wants the show to go on. And I just don't understand why he can't just see the bigger picture here. That it's just like this isn't WrestleMania. This is a cheap house show at this point. Like it just like and like
I don't know about
it,
a cheap house show with all the matches, but
yeah. Well, like as far as with like as far as it being at the PC and with them zero fans is was what I was getting out there. But
fair.
so now they're gonna have to start to piece together a card, because now what do you do with Goldberg now? Now I think that there was a rumor that supposedly that they might be doing Strowman
I would
versus
see that.
Goldberg.
I like that better.
Yeah.
I like that better.
The only problem is he just lost to Sami Zayn.
Doesn't. I don't care. I don't care.
Uh, yeah, that yeah. Needless to say, I disagree with that. He's been, to be quite frank, he's not been booked really well.
I still rather. I still rather like to see that instead of Roman.
I mean, honestly, I think more of a guy who probably would make better sense would maybe be Daniel Bryan. I think he would be a better option,
I
just because like he's at least won some matches. I mean, outside of this match against a Wyatt on the Rumble.
I just don't. I don't see him beating Goldberg. To me, Strowman is more believable.
Well, at the same time though, didn't Henry Bryan tap out Batista? So why couldn't he tap out Goldberg then?
Shh.
You know,
Shh.
damn it, man. But
Daniel Bryan is going for Sami Zayn now.
yeah, and that actually became official when you were watching
Yeah,
the opening of SmackDown, which that should be a pretty good match, and
I'm
that
interested to see that. Yes, I'm
and that
watching it right now.
and that should get time with the amount of people aren't going to be on the shows on the shows now. So I'm not I'm not really sure what's going to happen here because this feels like that every single day that you hear something new, like it would not surprise me at all if a Kevin Owens backed out, if an Edge backed out, especially with a lot of these guys with health concerns, and with Roman specifically. I'm kind of surprised it took him this long to back out, just with his history with cancer and everything, and with his immune system being would be a would definitely be a lot more at a risk that you would think with all of that. So I am surprised it took him only a week to make it official to not pull out. But supposedly this was strictly him going to the company and telling them, "Hey, just for my own safety, I'm not going to compete." And supposedly this came about when the Miz, I think he came to the PC, and he had a fever of over 804 degrees, which then set off the Usos, which set off Roman, which eventually led to this year. So yeah, it's been crazy. So Matt, like, how shocked were you when you heard this news? And yeah, just your overall thoughts on that there.
Um, I'm wasn't kind of shocked, but I'm not about Roman not do. I guess you're asking about Roman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind of not shocked because when I remember about obviously cancer and stuff,
Mhm.
um, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense for everybody who is doing it because of the fears. Because I don't know if everybody is. I don't know, but I know it's interesting to see what happens um, on next week
Mhm.
with the matches. I mean, I'm almost interested to see what happens after what they do. It's a tough spot
Mhm.
regardless. I think this would have been an easier call to make if this was like a regular pay per view.
Right, right.
Um,
And I think too that they wanted to hold out as long as possible, but even Roman like probably got to the point where it's like he was like, I can't put myself even at the slightest risk, even though they've taken every precaution. Like anyone who's showing any symptoms is immediately sent home. But I mean, it just feels like that this has just been such a complete headache for everyone involved. I just don't know why you just don't put this off. And this is just not only including WWE. I really do feel that pro wrestling should take a little bit of a break, honestly, until things start to calm down. Because and we've talked about this on the reaction show. It's so hard to do live pro wrestling shows in front of no fans.
mhm.
And I mean, just doing any matches, it's hard to get into those when you're not getting any reactions. And it was a complete anomaly what AEW did on the first week. They kind of made that work, but then after with Trump put down the quarantine that that like no more than 10 people are to show up, like
I think
it's
he,
really hard.
yeah, I think that was in place while they were doing their first show, but they obviously
Okay.
had I believe so. Then they had to change, obviously, this past week, this
Right,
past
right.
show.
Hmm.
Um, and I keep saying it. It's just, it's, it's a different situation than we're used to, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
mean, I mean,
what, like, the easier thing, the best thing to do, obviously, would be to just just take a break for how many months?
I think they should honestly just take a break until say like June. I probably wouldn't even think about doing double or double or nothing because supposedly according to the Observer, Dave Meltzer, I think he wrote this week that basically that AEW has given up any hope of doing any sort of like of um of having a crowd until May 20th, which that is essentially 5 days from double or nothing there. I
Yeah,
think you're I just think you're better off just not even having a show. It's not the end of the world, um, because everyone is dealing with this. So I mean, just until like at least until you're allowed to have, I don't know, 100 people in a gathering. But now like it's 10. It's like you can't do.
uh, I think for I guess WWE's concern
Mhm,
is what do you put on with contracts and stuff. What do you put on TV? Let's say you don't do anything, any
mhm.
new content. Um, what do you put on air? Do you just replay best of stuff
I
for
think I
3 hours?
I
Um,
think I think you do that. Maybe you do like many talk shows or something. But I don't see the appeal in just doing live wrestling now in front of zero fans. It's just like yeah, you might take a hit a bit, but like I really don't think you're really gaining anything by airing these shows. Because we're even seeing it with the ratings, like because I think with Raw that they had their lowest rating, I believe, since December, and this is during WrestleMania season. Obviously, NXT has been down a, a little bit.
I think SmackDown actually
Yeah,
was
they,
up.
yeah. I think they did what 2.5
Yeah,
million viewers
yeah. With the last
Mhm,
2 weeks, I think last week did a better overall
mhm.
rating or viewership than the week before, which makes no sense.
It
I
makes
think I think it's been probably maybe the most consistent show they've put on so far. It looks good. I mean, decent from what I'm watching now.
Mhm.
Plus, it's 2 hours.
Helps because and we say it every single week. It's hard to watch 3 hours every single week of pro wrestling
Of anything.
on on one night. It's so like the end, and that third hour just tanks every single time on Raw, and you just see this huge drop off into hour three. So it's like, man, like it's just it's tough. It's really tough. Um, and yeah, like I'm so eager for things just to get back to some normalcy because just without these crowds, man, like we essentially don't have any pro wrestling. Because without the fans, without the crowd, there is no business. Like it's not like in say like fighting or baseball, you can kind of deal without a crowd, but wrestling, like you need that interaction to like to feed off of that energy. I mean, hell, AEW stands out because the crowd is just so invested into everything. Like it's just and just them running shows without any fans, it's pretty damn awkward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely. But again, it's going to be almost weird to uh, see what happens. See what happens once all this blows over and it's done. Um, yeah, I don't. Whenever that is, it's a weird situation to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. And another weird situation that happened. It was yesterday. Our good buddy John Jones is at it again. Just this guy never seems to learn. He was pulled over. I believe yesterday. It was sometime yesterday, or it might have been Wednesday night. Actually, he got charged with a DWI. His blood alcohol level was twice of the legal limit. He failed a sobriety test pretty damn badly. Supposedly, he didn't have any proof of any car insurance, and also was negligent with a firearm. Because supposedly a complaint was filed because someone heard gunshots, and that's when the police came. And this just adds to another list of a laundry list of things that John Jones continues to get in trouble with the law. I mean, you recall when he when he had that hit, and when he had that hit and run. I think that was back in 2015, maybe 2014. I can't really remember exactly, but his issues with alcohol, with drugs, he has not made it any secret. Like he loves partying. I think he has a absolute alcohol issue because this is not his first DUI. I believe this has to be at least his second one. And you gotta wonder how much more that Dana and the UFC can really take this, because it just seems like he just does not seem to get it. Like, no matter how many chances that this guy gets, I mean, hell, he felt like how many freaking drug tests, and he keeps on coming back, and they keep on letting him back. And it's what Daniel Cormier said: he's never going to learn. He's going to screw up. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of a when. And I just don't understand why this man just cannot seem to not get his life together. And I mean, the only other explanation I can possibly think of, he has an addiction issue, and just likes to live on the edge, and doesn't really have anything going on. And it's a recipe for disaster when it comes to John Jones. Have anything to add there, Matt?
I it's like when you like almost any celebrity, big celebrity, especially like that they, I think their ego views or clouds their judgment.
Absolutely.
And I mean, he's probably doing his stuff, getting away with it, and then he gets caught, and it's not good for him, obviously. And it just, I don't know, ruins careers. Or so I don't know what happens. What will happen after this with whatever Dana will do.
Which he'll probably end up. He'll probably end up not doing anything. Just let the legal process play out.
Yeah,
They
unless I don't know if he hasn't. I don't know what he could, but yeah,
yeah.
it's just, you just shake your head. I don't feel any sadness for him, because
He's the last guy I would feel
yeah,
empathy for. Like I can respect Jones as a fighter, but he is not a good person. Like, this is on record. Just look at his feud with DC. If you saw this one sit down interview that both him and Rogan had, this was back in their Fox days, and the cameras were like off screen. John Jones was one person on camera and a complete different person off camera. So, like, you got a glimpse as to who the real John Jones is. And I mean, like, I really do get concerned about the guy once his fight career is over, because I'm not sure if he'll be able to transition into his life after fighting. Like, like we've seen so many examples. Like hell, a guy in the NFL, Antonio Brown, is a great example of that. I have no idea how he transitions into life after football. It's a really big issue with a lot of professional athletes, and that's why if you can find something after your pro career is over that you have passion for, like dive into it, like, and especially in fighting when your shelf life is so small, like like you only have a certain time to make as much money as possible, get in, get out, and go on to do something else. So, but with some guys, in John's case, he's so talented. He's so freakishly athletic. He's going to be around a lot longer than these other guys are going to be around for. And just to see him just waste everything, even, even though with his resume as it is, it's a Hall of Fame resume. It's going to be a huge asterisk because of his alcohol and his performance enhancing drugs, steroids issues are going to cloud his whole entire career. I mean, like, if you take away all of the drugs, the alcohol, he's the greatest fighter of all time. It's not even close. But that asterisk is going to be there. He's the Alex. He's the A-Rod of the sport. He's the Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire. Like, you freaking name it. Just that's the perception right now, and it's very unfortunate.
Hmm. What was this? We were talking before, and keeping on the topic of UFC, um, about what Dana was
Yeah,
doing.
Dana White, this crazy asshole, man. Like, so Dana is batshit crazy, and he's dead set on having this Tony and Habib pay-per-view. But he's already said that this show is not going to have any fans. He's talking about putting just a super card together with guys like him and Rose versus Andrade. I think he was thinking about putting Woodley and Leon Edwards on this card. He was talking about having Francis Ngannou on this card. Like, basically, Dana just wants to put on some sort of card on April 18th, which I believe is about 3 weeks away. Um, I think he's crazy enough to actually do it. I don't know how he's going to do it, especially in the United States, with there not being allowed to have more than not allowed to have more than 10 people in a gathering. So I'm thinking, is this going to be maybe in Russia, Saudi Arabia? Like, for some reason, Florida is the betting favorite now, which makes no sense to me because I don't know how you do that. Um, but I'm kind of hoping that this happens though, because at the very least, I want some sort of live professional sports something to happen, because man, we haven't gotten anything. What I mean, outside of professional wrestling, I think that the last live event was UFC, and that was what, 2 weeks ago, with Kevin Lee and Charles Oliveira. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But Dana is like, he's crazy, and he wants to do this. I mean, as a fan, you freaking love it, but as a fighter, you're probably like, dude, I'm not gonna fight with with this something hanging over. But at the same time, too, a lot of these fighters, they need a payday as well. So there's also that to balance there. So
Right.
yeah, so I have no idea what's going to happen, because you got to figure that they have to do something, because where we are about 3 weeks from this date, which was originally supposed to be in Brooklyn, which obviously isn't going to happen because that virus is most deadly in the Jersey, New York area right now, and this will kind of segue us into the coronavirus here.
Once again.
Matt, yeah, Matt, I'm not sure if you have seen this, but we are now officially over 100,000 confirmed cases in the United States, which that was made official, I
Yeah, I'm
think.
seeing it now. Yeah,
Mhm.
103,942
Yeah.
with the most being in New York, 46,016 with 611 deaths there, followed by New Jersey at 8,825 with 108 deaths. Pennsylvania, where we are, it's 2,345 with 22.
Mhm.
You mentioned Florida. That's 3,198 confirmed, 35 deaths. The total confirmed around the world is 595,800.
Mhm.
So pretty much probably by this day, by the time this day's over, as of recording at 9 o'clock here, probably going to get over 600,000 and 27,324
Mhm.
confirmed deaths throughout 176 countries or regions right now.
Mhm.
So just looking at the chart here, graph, it's gonna be hard to see. And there you go, just the exponential growth um, on the top there of
Yeah.
confirmed cases. So it's
Well,
pretty
well,
crazy now.
into with more and more people testing now too.
Yeah, it's gonna go up.
Yeah, and if you guys have been watching, what like what Rogan has been saying on his podcast, he's saying, hey, like we're not even at the at the apex of this whole thing. Like we're just kind of just starting now to go into what's going to be the worst of the virus now, because I definitely feel and I definitely agree with him that things are going to be getting worse before they get better, and the only way that it's going to get better is people socially distance themselves, take this thing seriously and not treat it as a joke, because this isn't a game here, and I'm hoping with all of this that we take things a little bit more seriously, going forward here, because now with California, with Florida, with New York and Jersey, I mean, like it just seems like every day it's getting worse, because I think either yesterday or the day before we only had like 80,000 cases, so that jumped 20,000 in a day or two, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, with all the testing, I'm not surprised
Mhm.
uh, that this is happening. Uh, it's expected that's going to happen. We'll just have to see how long it does go up, because it doesn't look like it's flattening anytime soon.
Honestly, I think at the end of say probably May is when it's going to flatten out, and when we'll finally start to see um like
Normalcy.
yeah, normalcy, hopefully. But honestly, this could go well into the summer, and we've said this every single week. And I don't see a reason why it won't. I'm just happy that for myself specifically, that I'm able to actually work from home, just just to just stay as far away from the public eye as possible. And for us, especially, like we stand a better chance in not getting the virus if we're just away from that human contact as much as possible. Um, and yeah, I'm just like you have to be really self aware about this. Anything more to add on that there, Matt?
Uh, it's just we say it
Every week.
every week. It's just uh, this is just crazy uh, to be a part of, because obviously we've never been We have never been a part of anything like this before. I the next. I mean, I don't want to make this obviously a comparison, but but the biggest news story I think of, at least of our generation, maybe besides 9/11.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I can't think of anything else. I mean, I don't want to.
Easily.
I know it's not. I'm not. It's not. Obviously, not comparing it, but just how big of a scope this was, and how it just affects everything. And maybe I think even the little mini recession we had in '08, I don't think
Mhm.
compares to this.
It doesn't. No.
I just, in terms of just every
Well,
day, it's something like
because too, it's not just impacting us. And it's impacting
the entire
the
globe.
the entire globe and in the economy on top of that. So it's like it's not just one thing that's adversely affecting, like it's affecting people's everyday lives, like being able to, like, I mean, just think of how many people are filing for unemployment. And I mean, hell, I'm really fortunate that I work a 9 to 5 desk job, because I'm still working, I'm still getting paid, like I'm one of the fortunate ones. So just be thankful for that there. But yeah, it's a very fluid situation. Hopefully we get some good news relatively soon, but it's going to be rough. Especially if you watch Joe Rogan's podcast, he talks about this essentially every single one. It's like, just I'm telling out facts. And I do find it funny though, Matt. Like with China, I do you really believe that
Nope.
they have, like,
Nope.
actually found a yeah, like,
I don't believe those numbers.
yep,
Nope.
yeah. Rogan said the exact same thing. He was like, "There's no way in hell that is true." Like, and for how big that population is over there too, like it's really hard to believe that those numbers essentially plateaued. It doesn't really add up. Just with the scope of how many people that they have, and somehow with the United States is just passing them by relatively easy. And supposedly we passed up Italy too, which I'm not sure how much I really believe that as well there. But
I believe that more than China just stopping,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
because I, Italy might have done more drastic
Yeah.
stuff
Hmm.
to get stuff done, but I don't. I I again, I believe that, but the United States is the United States, and
Hmm.
New York is a crazy, especially around the city. It's
Well,
just I just like a hot, just
well,
everybody's there.
yeah, and that was what Rogan and Joey Diaz were talking about. They're like, everyone lives on top of each other, and whereas here in Pittsburgh, like not everyone is like so close together, so we're a little bit more spread out. Not not by much, but it's like to the point where, like, not, one in every four people is getting infected, but if you're in Allegheny County, on the other hand, they're getting hit pretty hard right now. So yeah,
Yeah,
and actually, I think they instituted a shutdown, what, on Thursday night, I
I
think it
think
was, or
I think
Wednesday.
think a stay in place.
Mhm, right, right, and
Or
that was, yeah, in which
I think most of around Philadelphia,
yeah,
um, excuse me, Allegheny, Westmoreland, I think Erie County.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think, but that's most of it is in the eastern part of the state.
right.
Um, So yeah,
And
I felt like it'd be just not. They should just do it
well, and,
statewide.
well, and supposedly that they were saying among with the deaths that most of the deaths have been old people, at least in this state, I believe.
Yeah, think it's yeah. I think the majority of them,
Yeah,
but us young people,
are getting infected though.
we can still get sick,
Hmm.
um, and be really and be in ICU or in the hospitals, but just with anybody, we can transfer it to other people if we
Right.
have it, even if we don't have symptoms. I mean,
Hmm.
like I could be feeling fine right now,
Hmm.
but and I'm gonna assume I don't because I really didn't go anywhere.
No.
Um, but like I can feel fine for a couple of days. I can go over. I could see somebody, run into somebody, and I don't know, give them a handshake, whatever, and they have it.
Elbows.
el- Elbows, and they have it, and then they can get sick. Let's say they're an older
Hmm.
person that's more at risk for stuff like that, and then they get to the hospital, and God knows what happens. So people, and the best thing I saw was people that were on spring break saying they're not afraid of coronavirus, getting coronavirus. Um,
Yeah. And uh, and surely no one could have predicted that was going to happen.
oh yeah, no, but that's just karma, right there, and I don't feel bad in the slightest.
No, and that's pretty harsh to say. But when you're being that stupid about the whole thing and naive about the whole thing, when you're seeing like just clips of like, oh, I'm not gonna let this virus stop me for wanting to party and everything. It was like, okay, sure enough, a few days later, most of those idiots all got infected. So,
Good.
congratulations,
Gotta,
you you just played yourself.
gotta thin out the herd.
Yeah, apparently so. But
I, I
but to
joke. I joke, ladies and gentlemen.
but to lighten the mood a bit and going on to something that Matt and I are pretty passionate about, the MCU. So basically, what we're gonna be doing on the podcast now, since we're in this isolation with the coronavirus, we're going to be doing topics um weekly of just random things. And for this week, Matt, we're going to be doing our top five MCU films. So basically, from like from like a phase one until now. So Matt, if you want to give your top five,
Yeah. I got mine in no particular order
mhm.
right now because I can't couldn't rank them because I was kind of putting this together as we were talking here. But
Right.
here's my top five again in no particular order. Um, the first Avengers, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Okay.
Those are my top five.
Could you say that again?
I got the first Avengers movie, the Captain America Winter Soldier,
Mhm.
Captain America Civil War, the Avengers Infinity War, and then Avengers Endgame.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was just looking at the list and was just like,
Mhm.
those are the top five that stuck out. I
Yeah.
just Avengers, the first Avengers, just because how
Mhm.
it it was one of those things like you never thought you see.
Right. Right.
Just brought everything together and really tied everything in, and just culminated that first um, sets of movies. The two Captain America movies, Winter Soldier and Civil War, was just
Mhm.
they're excellent movies. And Infinity War and Endgame, you can debate in your head which one was better, but those were just
Yeah.
To me, just great movies.
For me, in no particular order, I have Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War are probably my two favorites. That I would say right now. Um, Infinity Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume One, and Thor Ragnarok. And notice I did not have Endgame in my top five, which after seeing it a few more times, I did drop it out of my top five. Just trying to compare those other five films, I just like to me, Winter Soldier might be the best Marvel film ever. Just with the whole story arc of Cap and Bucky with the Winter Soldier, and just how that story just all just blended in together. Obviously, you had Black Widow involved with that as well. Civil War. I mean, like just just the whole dynamic of Team Captain America, Team Iron Man, just those two butting heads with that whole political thing where basically the government was getting more involved with the heroes, and Iron Man wanted the heroes to basically register themselves as heroes so that they were pretty much at the mercy with the government, and basically Captain America was unwilling to trust anyone who would prevent them from going out to want to save someone, and
Right.
someone else would basically tell them no, you can't do that. So like that was just such an interesting dynamic. I mean, Infinity Wars, or as I call it, the most saddest movie, the most
Oh,
saddest MCU film by far. Just Thanos just kills everybody.
somebody had onions in the movie theater.
Yeah, like I had never heard the theater so quiet before. After he snaps his fingers, essentially 75% of everyone dies, and yeah, it was just a very somber ending, and
Especially Spider-Man.
especially Spider-Man, which
There's,
that
oh, that hit you.
yeah,
That hit you right here.
like and just and then with Thor, like seeing him in Endgame, just he was basically a shell. He went into such bad depression, just became an extreme alcoholic, and just like he just felt that he failed everyone, just not being
And
able to kill Thanos.
it I mean, it makes sense.
Yep.
You think about it, whatever in your life, you always see people that if they lost their job or what have you, like they get all sad, they go to the bar, they drink, and they feel miserable or whatever. I mean, obviously, it went to the almost extreme because obviously it's a superhero movie, but it is. I mean, if you had the chance to kill Thanos and you messed up, and then everybody
I,
half of the population of the universe
mhm,
is gone, and you don't
mhm,
know if you're going to see anybody.
right.
Obviously, we know because it's a movie,
Mhm,
but you don't know how to do it. There's no hope. Emotionally, I don't care if you're a god like he is, whatever. That's gonna that's gonna mess you up.
yeah, it's just like it just like I felt like, and like initially I was mad at what they did with Thor in Infinity Wars, but then after thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? No, because that makes a lot of sense. Because any rational human, after failing to save everyone, would go into this hole, would just drown themselves in their sorrows after losing a lot of people who they loved, and just that's how it ended. And then obviously, I mean, with the first Guardians, like that was just such an amazing movie. Just a perfect cast. Dave freaking Bautista was probably my favorite character um, on that cast. Just being a huge pro wrestling fan as I was, just his comedic timing with his character,
Yeah,
just his
yeah,
off
and
moments, just
oh
kills
yeah,
me.
absolutely. And that was one of those movies that I didn't know the characters, and I bet a lot of people like unless you're not hardcore into
Right
um
into comics and stuff.
comics, I'm not like I never heard pretty much never heard of these characters before,
Right, same
and
here.
so it was almost I think almost a gamble on their part to
Mhm.
make this movie because
It was a hit. It was a hit, man.
yeah, because it's not your Spider-Man, it's not your Captain America or your Iron Man or even a Hulk. The more recognizable characters. And
Just with the soundtrack alone on that film was.
oh, and I got mine
Mhm.
got mine for free. Like Google, whoop, ow, sorry, I dropped something. In Google Play, um, like having that for free and
Mhm.
just listening to that, it's so good.
Mhm.
Both, I think that first soundtrack might be better than the second one. I don't
Yeah,
know,
I would agree with
but that movie was such uh, a surprise at the box office, like a good surprise, and it just
just.
worked out, and it was popular, and everybody was just saying "I am Groot"
Mhm.
from that point on, and that
And Diesel got paid so much freaking money by just saying three words.
right, but it, hey, I don't blame him.
Mhm.
It's got that Marvel money.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
you would have Endgame what 6 or 7?
six. I have like Thor. I have Thor Ragnarok at five.
Mm,
Like like if I had to rank them, Winter Soldier, Infinity Wars, Civil War, Guardians, and Thor. That's that, which is always subject to change because opinions change when you
yeah,
constantly watching.
it's hard
Uh,
to it's hard to say. Because what's going to be interesting is whenever Black Widow comes out. It was supposed to come out, I think, what May, um, and now it's TBA. Uh,
I'm hoping that they just release that on Disney Plus, because as we said earlier in the podcast, who knows how long that this isolation thing is going to last. Like I don't
I
understand the,
I
the downside of that.
yeah, but I think from a money aspect,
Yeah, that would all.
you get that money from box office to counter
Mhm.
and make a profit from
Yeah.
what you put into the movie. I think that's what's holding them back because what's stopping a lot of people from just
Mhm.
getting a free month or whatever, watching it, and then don't subscribe. You don't
The
get.
only
You,
the only thing I can possibly think of is like maybe they do a second paywall on Disney Plus. They're like, oh, you would have to pay like say an extra $10 or so to watch this, which I think is fair, just because it's something brand spanking new. It's not technically an original programming
uh,
like the
yeah.
Mandalorian or what Star Wars is presented there. So
Well, yeah, because Mandalorian is kind of just Disney Plus exclusive.
yeah.
I mean, you could maybe say buy this now and get charged $10 to your credit card or what have you, and
Right.
I guess that's more. That could be more
Mhm.
profit for them instead
Mhm.
of you. I'm sorry, I'm watching Bray Wyatt.
Mhm.
Uh, Instead of sharing that with obviously a movie theater. So
Mhm.
I don't know, but it gets pushed back. I know we don't want to see it because
Um,
we want to see it now, but I understand. So technically, the next one in line is the Internals, which is in November, November 6th. So hopefully, and it should. I'm gonna say it should be done. Everything done by then. Because then you have the Internals, then the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I probably butcher that name. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then that's next February, and then in next May, we got the new Doctor Strange movie,
which I cannot wait for.
Right. Then in July, the new Spider-Man. And then November 5th of next year, Thor, Love and Thunder. And then the following May in 2022, the second Black Panther. And then in other movies, suspected to come out, like Blade, the third Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Deadpool, maybe a Fantastic Four, maybe.
X-Men at some point has to make some sort of
and I think another X-Men, the comeback. So it's going to be a lot of years down the road. The next couple of years, it's going to be interesting. But until then, I don't know. Plus, on Disney Plus, we got what's coming up. Oh my God, I'm drawing up.
Captain sorry, Winter Soldier and Falcon's coming.
Falcon. Is that the end of the year? Is that fall?
Actually, no. It's in the fall. Because I think Captain America, Winter Soldier and Falcon. I believe that comes in September.
Let me see. August. It says here.
Okay, because I believe the second season of The Mandalorian comes in
October,
and Scarlet Vision comes in December. If I'm correct.
WandaVision's in December.
Or WandaVision, yeah.
So the fall, like the winter stuff, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. You got Winter Soldier, then you get the Mandalorian right after that, then WandaVision. So that is interesting. And then in the following year, you got Loki, the What If series,
which that's really intriguing as well. And like we talked about this on the past podcast, like when Marvel announced all of this, I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like for this app, like it's going to suck for the first year just because there's really no original programming that's going to drop. But
on Marvel side,
on the Marvel side, more specific, But in like year 2, year 3, that's when you're going to get everything's going to be dropping.
Yeah, I think. Did you say Mandalorian is November? I think it's November. It has here November 12th.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was either.
No, wait, no. My bad. That was for when it started. I'm sorry, I read the date wrong. It's probably October. Yeah, I read it wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
But so there's a lot of stuff like that's gonna come out that we'll see what happens. I'm just looking now. It's gonna be interesting in the fall season. That's gonna be a fun time to watch, and a lot of stuff to talk about on our end.
Oh yeah, which is going to give us some more content. And Matt, I think we went over an hour here.
No, we got 50. I'm at 54. We're just about an hour.
Okay. Well, I think that might be a good place for us to stop here.
Sure.
Yeah, we covered some MMA, talked some WrestleMania, and so like going forward, as I said, we'll be doing some of these random topics, just to kind of give us something to actually talk about while we are all still in isolation. So to say, but anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Give the channel a follow and
like the video.
like the video, subscribe, share it, ring that bell for when all future videos come on. And I would also like to send a shout out to Brian of the MB show. You are more than welcome to stream on our channel. The
Shameless
more
plugs.
Yep.
Shameless plugs.
Yep. Shameless
We did
plug.
this. We did this yesterday, or this past Friday when you're watching this. So we did that at least for this week for them. So
Right.
we have that. So try to branch out.
Yep, and definitely. And we're going to try and talk about some other things. We're going to be dialing back on the wrestling talk outside, and that's typically what our reaction shows are going to be like. But if there's like if there is some big news, we'll definitely talk about
Like,
it.
well, obviously, we have Mania next weekend. Probably preview that
And
next
we'll,
week and go
and
over it and react to it the following week.
right,
And then
we'll probably do reaction shows for that as well. Just gives us some more content, and rather than trying to, to just to just review everything on one podcast, rather just put that up just for our own sanity's sake. But Matt, if you want to take us home, and we'll close this up here.
yeah, like John said, like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Again, shout out to Brian from Nick and Brian Show. Yeah, pretty much it. And we try to have some good topics moving forward with, obviously with everything that's happening.
Yep.
So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday.